Guest is Ron Henderson. He has been a personal trainer for about 40 years. He's written several books on the subject. His website is Ron Henderson, The Fitness King, and he helps people get into shape and feel better. And we're talking with Ron right now. Ron, welcome back.
Yes, Nick.
All right.
I'm here.
Let's talk about this new program that you've launched. It's called Self-Stage. And I understand that, many of your clients are from many different walks of life and different businesses. And you try to help out business leaders as well. And this is one of your ways of doing that. Tell me about Self-Stage.
Well, really, Self-Stage, that's my signature right now. That's my signature keynote speech that I do. And Self-Stage is, when I explain it to people, when you think of staging, typically, Nick, you think of somebody selling a home, right?
Sure.
They stage a home, and if you think about it, and this has been proven, people, if a home is staged well, generally speaking, it will sell within the 30 to 40-day time period because it's staged well. So this is really geared towards people in business, but also hitting those people, especially in the real estate business and people that are leaders in their organizations. So when I talk about self-staging, I'm saying, look at how you stage homes. Now apply those principles to yourself. Now, you're going to sell a home. What do? You want to make sure that when people drive up to the house, that it looks good from the outside. What they call curb appeal, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, if you're buying it for an investment, people don't care about that. But the typical person that's buying a home, Nick, for their family, you pull up, they want everything to look great. So you pull up, the yard looks good, the outside looks good. Now, let me tie this in. People say you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. But guess what, Nick? We do it every single day of our life.
It's true.
We do it.
Yeah, it's true.
Somebody applies for a job, and you can't say, I'm not going to hire you because you're corpulent. And a lot of times those people don't get hired because people are worried about that person having a heart attack 4 months later or whatever because they're obese or there's different issues. There's different things. We do judge books by their cover. We shouldn't, but we all do. It's kind of natural. We do that. You come in, you got your pants sagging, they're dragging. I'm not going to hire you, as an example. So we do that. So self-staging really, the first part of self-staging is people need to get themselves in the best physical shape that they can because it's how people perceive you. Another reason is if you're not in great shape, you have all these things that can distract you. When you don't have any energy, that's a distraction. When you're in pain all the time, that's a distraction. When your knees are hurting and your back is hurting, all those things distract you. So when you're meeting that potential person, especially somebody that's looking maybe to list with you or have you sell their home, but you have all those other things going on physically speaking, it's hard for you to be really dedicated to that person. So that's really the first part is people need to get in the best shape that they can and stay that way. And that really applies, Nick, to any single business. So that's what I do when I go out and I speak to these corporations. I motivate them, and I can motivate them because I've been dealing with people from Famous Dave to Second Wind Exercise, all these people all over that are pretty well known, and people that apply these principles do well in all areas of their life. So that's number one. Number two would be, Nick, you have to develop a positive attitude in every single thing that you do. Now, I've had people they'll say, well, is that easy? Well, I always pause for a second, Nick. It depends on your attitude. So when I say a positive attitude in every single thing that you do, all of a sudden you've spent 2 months with somebody and they decide to list with somebody else. What you do is you look at that and you say, you know what? They were supposed to be with that other person. Have a positive attitude, because what happens if you're negative, Nick, then it pulls you down and then your phone rings, okay, and somebody else is looking to maybe have you sell a home for them. You pick up the phone and you say, hello, can I help you? Now, you think you're all right, but you're not all right, Nick, because you just got off the phone. You're angry at this other guy. You bring it into the conversation, even though you're not verbally saying anything, but that other person picks it up, and they're probably less likely to want to actually deal with you because they're picking up this negative energy from you. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah, absolutely.
So, but a lot of people really aren't aware of this, and so when I do the keynote, I kind of get into these things in the more detail. The number third is, it's called the catch and release system. Can I explain it to you?
Please.
Okay. Catch and release system is when something happens to you, you have this ability. It's almost like when you're fishing. You're fishing for that fish, and you catch this fish. You'd love to keep it, but you're told that you can't. So you release it. You let it go. Well,
right.
Things come at us every single day. About 2 months ago, I went to the doctor. They said, "Oh, your PSA score is high. That's for prostate." And generally speaking, when it's as high as mine is, it means that you might have cancer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so what most people do is they get themselves down. What I did was I took a deep breath in front of my wife. I breathed in, I breathed out, I let it go. In other words, I recognize the situation, but I also realize that anything that's not positive is actually going to do more harm than what you think might be going on with your body. So you release it, you catch it, recognize it.
I got it.
Things happen for a release, but people really got to work on this. And when you do,
sure.
You can have every single day of your life. You can actually walk and be happy, Nick.
Yeah, it's these are all great pieces of advice. It's amazing, when you speak to these people for motivation. It's kind of amazing about how your mind and your head have a lot to do with your health and your fitness as well. It really does, and that's one of the things that I learn every time I talk to you.
Yeah, definitely. And the last part of that, which is really pivotal as well, is you see these commercials all the time, Nick. They say, "Well, what's in your wallet?" Well,
yeah.
What I say, it's not what's in your wallet really. It's more about what's in your heart. So that's really about caring more about that individual than you do about yourself. And when you do that, you're always going to do well. As a perfect example, I had a realtor post something on Facebook this morning, and she talked about she got this award. It's the top award that you can get as a realtor. She gets it every year. Mm-hmm. And she said that she got it even though there was times in her life that she was feeling this year kind of down because her sales weren't where she wanted to, and a lot of these different things. And the first thing I thought was, when my book is published, I'm writing a book on that, writing 2 books. I'm going to get her a copy because she did well financially, but she had those periods that she allowed when people would dump her and go to somebody else to draw her down. You can't do that, and the way to not do that, really, just keep working on it. And the more you work on it, Nick, the easier it gets. So when I go have my MRI, which is Thursday this week, whatever happens will happen, but I refuse to be pulled down. I'm going to stay positive because, see, things can happen that might make people, how can I say it? It's kind of like people can put you down in certain ways, but nobody can pull you down, Nick, but yourself, and even issues that you have in life. So you stay positive at all costs. It does work. You're going to feel better. So I still haven't had a bad day in 30-some years. It works.
That's great, Ron. That's really great. You're a great motivator. Let me ask you this, Ron. You are how old now?
I'll be 65 May 15th.
65 in May. And what's your workout routine, your daily workout routine? Because I want to blow people's minds here. What do you usually do?
Daily workout, generally speaking, after work I go home, I get on the elliptical, I get on the bike, and generally speaking, because it's late, I'll say I'm going to burn whatever it is, 600, 700 calories, and I do that. I do weights, obviously. I work my stomach usually every day, and it's not about really the numbers, but I do quality, so I might do 150 repetitions for my abs. It's not a lot, but I do them. Let's say I'll do 10 of this, 10 of this, 12 of this,
right.
12 of this.
Right.
Now, you notice the numbers are really down. Well, that's because I'm practicing quality in what I'm doing. I'm not just throwing something together, throwing my legs up and back and forth. I concentrate. I focus my mind and my body and my breath on the muscle.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing how you motivate, and you also. I just want to mention really quickly. We're almost out of time here, but your YouTube series, Motivation, you interview people with inspiring stories. Can people see that on YouTube, Russ?
Yes, they can, definitely. Or if you want, feel free to give them. They can email me at motivationwithron.
Okay.
At motivationwithron@gmail.com.
You're a real inspiration, Ron. It's always fun to have you on. Self Stage is the new program. Ron Henderson, the Fitness King, is the website that you can check out. And Ron, it's always a pleasure. It's always amazing to hear your story, and I really enjoy having you on the show.
Well, thank you, and I enjoy being on your show, the number one radio station in the world. Come on now. All right. I always say that because it's true, Nick. It's a pleasure always talking with you as well. Stay fit in all that you do.
Okay, buddy. Thank you very much.